There is something I never wanted to tell you this early because I knew you would try to carry it before your heart was ready. More than once, I almost revealed it, yet I chose to wait. Not because the truth was hidden from you, but because it could only be recognized at the right moment. I watched you search for answers in victories, in losses, in the opinions of people, and even in your own reflection. I could have spoken louder. I could have explained every delay, every detour, every unanswered question. But if I had, you would have understood the explanation without ever discovering the truth. That is why I waited. Not because I was distant, but because some truths cannot be handed to you. They must grow within you. From the beginning, you believed your life was being measured by what happened around you. You counted closed doors as failures and open doors as success. You believed the days that felt productive mattered more than the quiet ones. You assumed that if I was near, everything would make immediate sense. Yet, you were reading your story like someone holding a single page, never realizing I was writing an entire book. You wondered why certain dreams faded just as they seemed close enough to touch. You questioned why opportunities disappeared after months of preparation. You carried memories of childhood that left invisible marks upon your confidence. You replayed mistakes long after everyone else had forgotten them. You stood at crossroads, waiting for signs that seemed painfully late. Every unanswered prayer became another reason to wonder whether I had stepped back. There were moments when your strength felt like an unfinished bridge stretching into thick morning fog. You could see where you stood, but not where the path would lead. You wanted certainty before taking another step. Yet I was teaching you something certainty never could. Trust is not built by seeing the entire landscape. Trust is formed when you keep walking while the horizon remains hidden. I stayed quieter than you wished because you kept asking me for maps while I was shaping the traveler. A perfect map cannot help someone who has never learned to trust the guide. I cared more about who you were becoming than how quickly you reached the next destination. The world celebrates arrival. I celebrate transformation. Think about the seasons you wanted to erase, the job that slipped away, the financial pressure that taught you compassion instead of pride, the health struggle that slowed your pace until you noticed people you had been too busy to see, the friendship that quietly ended, making room for deeper wisdom, the family burden that seemed unfair but awakened courage you never imagined possessing. Even the one relationship that broke your heart did not define your story. It simply revealed that your identity could never depend on another person's decision. You believed I was responding to isolated moments. I was responding to your entire life. A gardener does not stare at a single leaf and decide the future of the tree. He understands the roots are doing hidden work. In the same way, I never judged your life by one painful chapter. While you focused on the visible branches, I was strengthening what no one else could see. Here is the truth I waited to reveal. The greatest miracle was not always the blessing you received. It was the life I quietly protected you from living. Many of the prayers you believed I denied were, in truth, the deepest expressions of my love. There are roads you still mourn that would have emptied your spirit. There were successes that would have filled your hands while leaving your heart hollow. There were invitations that looked like answers but carried burdens you were never created to bear. There were moments when my silence felt like absence, when it was actually shelter. You called them disappointments, I called them rescues. You called them delays, I called them preparation. you called them endings. I saw beginnings that had not yet reached the surface, like a seed resting beneath frozen ground, gathering unseen strength before the first warmth of spring could awaken it. That is why I never rush to explain myself. If I had shown you everything I prevented, fear would have replaced trust. If I had revealed every unseen danger, you would have spent your days looking backward instead of forward. So I carried knowledge you did not need, while inviting you into faith you could grow. Remember what is written, and we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love Him. Those words were never meant to erase pain. They were meant to remind you that no part of your story escapes my hands. Even now, there are questions you still carry. Some have followed you for years, others arrived only yesterday. You may never receive every explanation you desire, but you will never walk without my presence. There is a difference. Explanations satisfy the mind for a moment. My presence strengthens the soul for a lifetime. So stop measuring your life by clocks that seem broken. Stop believing every closed gate means you have been forgotten. Look instead at the quiet ways you have grown stronger, kinder, wiser, and more compassionate than you once were. Those changes are not accidents. They are evidence that I have been walking beside you every step, even when my footprints seemed invisible. One day you will look back and discover that the moments you wanted removed became the places where hope took its deepest roots. The valleys taught you songs the mountaintops never could. The waiting shaped endurance. The uncertainty awakened faith. The tears watered compassion. Nothing was wasted. Now you understand why I hesitated to tell you this. Not because I wanted to hide the truth from you, because I wanted you to recognize it when your own journey could finally bear its weight. So walk forward without fearing the pages you have not read. The author has never abandoned the story. Every chapter, whether bright or difficult, is moving toward a purpose greater than you can presently imagine. And when the final page is turned, you will see that every page before it was already held safely in my hands. And when the day comes that every unanswered question fades into my light, you will not remember my silence as abandonment. You will remember it as love, the quiet kind that was writing your story long before you could read it. Amen.